Alrighty, let's go. Welcome back into the Skooshi Sport Podcast and your global sports roundup, where I bring you the latest sporting news from around the globe in the last week, and obviously plenty of actions to kick off 2026, the new year. So if you are coming from let's say yesterday's episode, I released 2 NRL team previews every single week. So yesterday I did come out with the Roosters and the Panthers preview. So make sure you go check that out. And then obviously tomorrow I'll have the divisional preview. Or sorry, the day after. It's my birthday tomorrow. So I will have the divisional preview of the Red Zone Report coming out. 4 games to preview that for the NFL coming up. But before we get started, make sure you do give this video a massive like on the channel and subscribe to the new channel as well. All my links in the bio as well in the comments there to have a look at all my socials as well. All at Skooshi Sports, Skooshi Sports. Nearly hitting 300 followers now on TikTok. We're over 100 followers now on Instagram and Facebook as well, which is honestly really cool. Like just really growing my channel. I absolutely love what I'm doing. Getting like more listens, more downloads on every single podcast as well. So the numbers are continuing to grow, which just means the absolute world to me. I think it's so bloody cool. I'm going to keep doing this, whether I get 0, whether I get 1,000, whether I get 10,000. So absolutely love it. But without further ado, let's get started. So if you are new to the podcast in the Global Sports Roundup, we go through our Women's Player of the Week, where I bring you the limelight, put the spotlight on one particular really famous, or not famous, but really like high performing athlete that is from the female side, who has just absolutely killed it in the last week. Then we're going to cross over to a little bit of cricket news and then a little bit of tennis as well. The summer of tennis in Australia pretty much has kicked off last week with the Brisbane International. You know, got the United Cup. Also had the Auckland International in New Zealand as well. Then we're going to finish it off with our American sports as per usual. Doing the NFL recap of Wildcard Weekend. Holy dooly, what a weekend it was. Having the divisional matchups as well. And then crossing over to your NBA and NHL weekly review, looking at how that is going. Pretty much nearly halfway through the season in both those leagues there. But without further ado, let's get started. Our Women's Player of the Week. This one is a little bit different. Obviously, start of the new year, not a whole lot of sports happening around. I try and want to do like one like unique one, obviously, every week. I don't want to try and repeat. The one I did want to use was Aryna Sabalenka. She just won the Brisbane International back-to-back. That was her 22nd WTA title, which I'll mention in a little bit there. Great form heading to the Australian Open. However, when she won the US Open, I did Sabalenka as my Women's Player/Athlete of the Week there. So this one is a little bit different though. This one is, we're going to go a women's cricketer who has just decided to hang up the boot. So hasn't performed the last week, but oh my goodness, over the course of her career has really been inspirational and such a positive impact on women's cricket and just cricket in Australia and across the globe just in general. And that is Alyssa Healy, my Women's Player of the Week, one of the most influential players in the history of women's cricket, as I said, and just completely in the women's game, redefining what a wicketkeeper/batter can turn out to be. An absolute trailblazer at the top of the order. She was aggressive, she was fearless, absolutely wanted to take the game on from ball one as well. And such a central figure in Australia's era of dominance in women's cricket. She won multiple ODI and T20 World Cups. She won 2 ODI World Cups and 6 T20 World Cups, which I find unbelievable. She has captained Australia recently as well in 2023 till now, and one of those including probably her highlight of her career was whitewashing England 7-0 in 2024 and 2025. So their Ashes works a little bit different to men's. They won the test, they won 3 ODIs, and they won 3 T20s as well. She's also produced pretty much arguably the greatest innings in World Cup history for men's and women's. A record-breaking 170 in a World Cup final, absolutely setting the standard on the biggest stage and just helped change the global perception of women's batting, just power hitting, high strike rates, and just absolute match-winning intent as well from Alyssa. As I spoke about, she's an elite wicketkeeper as well as a batter. Really sharp glove work, game awareness, and just absolute leadership behind the stumps, as I say, captaining Australia to that Ashes whitewash victory there. And she's just played such a huge role in the professionalism and the popularity of women's cricket that we see now, both in Australia and then what we see globally now as well. The women's cricket game is getting bigger and bigger every single year, and Alyssa Healy has been such a vital impact and such an important impact on that. And she's just completely inspiring the next generation. Alyssa, obviously married to Mitchell Starc, and just really inspiring the next generation of young wicket keepers and how they want to model their batting as an opener, or just in general how they want to model themselves as a cricketer, looking up to Alyssa Healy. So massive congratulations to the career for Alyssa Healy, an absolute trailblazer, such an inspiration on cricket in the men's and women's game, not just in Australia, but all around the world, setting records all over the place, and most importantly, captaining her country, which is such a proud achievement, such a unique thing, something you obviously dream about as a kid, and more importantly, captaining Australia to a 7-0 Ashes whitewash win against England. So massive congratulations to Alyssa Healy. A little bit different this week, but she gets my Women's Player of the Week. Enjoy your retirement, Alyssa. She's been absolutely killing it in the commentary box over the Ashes series as well. All right, let's get started. Let's go keep talking about cricket, because the Ashes series is now over. Australia ended up winning that 5th test, by sort of 4 wickets in the end there. Let's talk a bit about Big Bash though. So we've had, obviously, we'll go through our results. We've had sort of 8 games in the last week or so. We've had actually a double header, 2 days in a row. One of them did get abandoned though. But since last week I recorded my episode, we had the Renegades beat the Scorchers by 4 wickets. That was honestly a cracking game, a very low-scoring game, and the Renegades, Ollie Peake, the young talent coming through Australia cricket, hit a ramp off the last ball to beat the Scorchers by 4 wickets. We had the Sixers beating the Stars by 6 wickets, who only had to chase down 129. We had the Hurricanes beating the Strikers by 37 runs. They got 178 for 6. Honestly, Mitch Owen was hitting it everywhere. He was seeing it like beach balls early on, got literally 39 or 14 balls or something ridiculous like that. We had the return of Marnus Labuschagne and Usman Khawaja for the Brizzy Heat, and they beat the Thunder at the Gabba in a day game by 7 wickets, chasing down 183. Then we had the second stage of the Melbourne Derby. We had the Stars beating the Renegades by 8 wickets, chasing down 170. The summer of Sammy Harper continues. He's just absolutely blitzing it, absolutely killing it. I'm watching, playing the Strikers right now. He's already taken 2 catches and already had a stumping. And literally, Strikers got out for, 83 or something ridiculous like that. We had Sixers and the Canes, unfortunately, get abandoned with the return of Steve Smith. We had the Scorchers beat the Strikers by 32 runs, hitting 4 for 232. Mitch Marsh, 88 of 51. He has either been hitting over 80 a century or under 10. It's just no in between for Mitch Marsh at the moment there. And then last night we had the Thunder beating the Renegades in a shorter match by 4 wickets, chasing down 140 in Duckworth Lewis. We'll have a look at the standings though, and the champions from last year, Hobart. They have played one more game than pretty much every other team at the moment, but they are 6 from 9 at the moment. 3 losses, sitting easily clear at the top there. We've got Perth and Melbourne Stars sitting there on both playing 8 games and won 5 of those, although it looks like the Stars will absolutely canter home here. Probably, honestly, nearly, let's just have a look at the score. They're 2 for, is that 16, I think? No, honestly, they should absolute cruise, so they should win by at least sort of 5 or 6 wickets there. We've got the Sydney Sixers rounding out the top 4. They are 4 from 4 at the moment. Obviously, 1 has been abandoned as well, so they're sitting on 9 points. We've got Brizzy Heat, 4 from 4 as well, sitting on the precipice of the finals on 8 points. Honestly, if they bat second, they're completely fine. As soon as they bat first, oh my goodness, it is just absolutely crap. The Strikers, a little bit disappointing this season. They're getting absolute trounced, as I said, at the moment. Tom Curran absolutely blitzed through them. They're sitting 3 from 5, or 3 wins, 5 losses at the moment, looking like 3 wins and 6 losses as I record this. Probably not looking like they will make finals. And then rounding at the bottom, we've got the Renegades, who just continue to disappoint. 3 wins from 8, and then the Sydney Thunder, wooden spooners at the moment, 2 wins from 9, including that win the other night. So not a good season for the Sydney Thunder, and honestly, Davey Warner didn't even play the other night. He's been absolutely stellar, but just haven't been able to take the wickets. Feel like they've been relying on Daniel Sams quite a bit. Just, yeah, hasn't been too great. Sam Billings hasn't really done too much, that kind of thing. There's your Big Bash update. A little bit of a international update. India are playing New Zealand in a 3-game ODI series at the moment. Then they go and play three T20s before the T20 World Cup starts in about a month, which is also in India. So 3-game ODI series. As I said, India played New Zealand the other night. They beat them by 4 wickets, chasing down 300 there. They did that in 49 overs. Virat Kohli getting 93. Very, very impressive. All right, let's cross over to a bit of tennis chat, because this is honestly one of my favorite times of the year. I mean, there's sport all around. I'm going to say this when the footy starts. I'm going to say this when NFL starts. But I truly do love when the summer of tennis gets underway. I played tennis when I was a kid growing up. I absolutely love watching it. I've been down to the Australian Open before. I'd love to get down there again. It's an awesome run event. It is so bloody good. But at the moment, we've got sort of like the warm-up tournaments at the moment before the Australian Open starts, and literally this time next week, on Monday next week. So Brisbane International, in my backyard, honestly, about 5 minutes away from me, we had Daniil Medvedev and Arina Sabalenka winning the Brisbane International singles. Medvedev getting his 22nd ATP title, beating Brandon Nakashima 6-2, 7-6, and then 7-1 in the tiebreaker in the final there. Absolute cruise through. Looking very good heading to the Australian Open. Feel like we haven't heard his name, honestly, too much in the last sort of couple of years, since his sort of felt like a dominant period there. Just felt like it's all run by Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz now. And then in the women's, I wanted to make her my women's player of the week, but I didn't want to double up. But she defended her title, Arina Sabalenka. Very impressive. Beating Marta Kostyuk 6-4, 6-3 in the final there. 22nd WTA singles title, which is absolutely incredible, and did not drop a set the whole tournament. Unbelievable. She is easily the hardcore favorite at the moment for Aussie Open coming up next week. She'll be looking to defend her title, coming off a US Open win last year as well. She'll be looking to go back-to-back Grand Slams. In the United Cup, which is a teams event that was hosted in Perth and in Sydney there. So you have essentially you have a men's singles match, you have a women's singles match, and then you have a mixed doubles match. So it's essentially the best of 3 matches there. We had Poland, the United Cup champions there. They beat Switzerland 2-1 in the final. From Switzerland, we had Belinda Bencic beat Iga Swiatek, which she's a very good player in the singles, 3-6, 6-love, 6-3. And then the Polish Hubert Hurkacz beat Stanislas Wawrinka 6-3, 3-6, 6-3. This meant it was 1-1 going into the doubles final, and Poland won the doubles 6-4, 6-3 to seal the win there in the United Cup. And now we've got the Aussie Open qualifiers, which have started today. 16 single players left to go in the draw to fit up the 128, the men's and the women's side there. Honestly, I saw this stat today, call it a stat. This is awesome for tennis in Australia. And I saw a stat last year that they had about 7,500 through the gates on day one of the qualifiers. This year, today or yesterday, they had 30,000 through the gates, which is awesome. It's awesome to see Aussies sort of getting around tennis a bit more. Obviously, you got the likes of I think Bernard Tomic was playing. I think Cruz Hewitt, Leighton's son, was playing as well. He did bow out in the first round of it, but it's awesome just to see more tennis get noticed on the map. I think it's an awesome sport. I think it's so awesome to watch how good these freaking players are and how fit they are and how. I just don't think we see it, especially Grand Slam level, when you can play these 4-5 hour matches, just running around constantly, they're just unbelievable athletes, and I just don't think they get enough credit. Obviously, there's plenty of money in tennis these days, but it's awesome to see nearly 30,000 people go out to day one of the qualifiers. All right, let's kick on to a bit of American sports. Let's talk about the NFL, and oh my goodness gracious me. Holy dooly. I just want to take a moment because we had a wildcard weekend over the weekend. Honestly, I feel like I've been following our NFL since about 2018 now, I believe. So this is my 8th sort of season of following. I don't remember a better wildcard weekend in the time that I've been following. It was absolutely electric. It was unbelievable. Obviously, it's been expanded now in the last couple of years where the gone from 12 teams to 14 teams now, and it used to just be the top 2 seeds who get a bye. So usually you just see 4 wildcard games, and then you see 4 divisional games, and then you would see like 2 championship games, and then your Super Bowl. Now we get 6 wildcard games, 4 divisional, and then 2 championship games, and then your Super Bowl. This was 4 out of the 6 games were absolutely epic. The first 4 of them were unbelievable playoff games. And one of them did include my Carolina Panthers, which I get it. We lost 34-31 against the Rams, who they were looking like the number 1 seed in the NFC for a lot of this year. You've got pretty much the MVP Stafford there at quarterback. We were leading with a minute to go. I am so freaking proud of this team. I could not be more proud. And I was gutted on Sunday, like this game was Sunday morning in Australia. I was gutted. It just felt like I did not think we'd get this close. It just felt like, 14-0 down. We couldn't even defend Puka Nacua, and we just didn't give up. And just to see a full house at Bank of America Stadium, Cam Newton banging the drum, I'm literally getting goosebumps thinking about it right now. Like, I was just so happy, like, regardless of the result, to see some passion back in that stadium, a really loud crowd, and it was like majority, like easily 95% Panthers fans there. Cam Newton back in the house, and just to see us, even though we went down early, I was just like, you know what? I'm happy that we're here anyway. It exceeded my expectations for the year and exceeded a lot of people's expectations for the year. And to come back like that, Bryce Young, I thought he really did put in a solid effort there. That last touchdown pass to Jalen Coker was unbelievable scenes. Absolute dime he put on. Jalen Coker had a breakout game there. Bryce Young scored a rushing touchdown himself. I'm proud as punch. This defense was the worst defense by a country mile last year, and it's been absolutely turned around in the space of 1 year, and there's still a lot of room for improvement, especially that coverage on the last drive there by the Rams. I'm just proud as punch to put up 31 points against the Rams in a playoff game. I'm just, I think it's quite exciting what the Panthers, we're going to have a tough schedule next year, but it'll really prove the kind of team that we are. Everything is just looking that little bit better, and I was just so excited, and I was absolutely jumping up and down when we got that last touchdown. I really did think we were going to pull off the upset, but massive credit to the Rams, right? At the end of the day, I did think that was slightly the better team there, even though Stafford was a little bit injured. They're just that little bit better all across the field, whether it's Devontae Adams, whether it's Puka Nacua, whether it's Stafford. And it's just that little bit key moments, whether it's coaching, just that little bit more of an edge. Honestly, they've got the Bears now. I think they'll go beat the Bears. Most likely will play Seattle in a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Going to be interesting to see. I don't know if their defense is good enough now after what I've seen the last few weeks from the Rams, but I'm just proud as punches, my Panthers. I didn't expect us to get there, and we put in a full-blown effort. Plenty of people predicted us to get blown out. Plenty of people down 14-0 after that muff punt were just like, why are the Panthers in the playoffs? And we proved that we can be there. And we've beaten the Rams this year before. We beat the Packers as well. Yeah, I'm proud as punch. Like, literally, I was so gutted. But, it's an absolute pass mark for the season. If we made a divisional, it would have been absolutely, it would have been crazy in my opinion. Especially if the Packers beat the Bears, we would have been hosting a divisional game. Yeah, absolute scenes. I'm very, very proud as a Panthers fans there. Let's go on to the other results. Oh my goodness, this was a cracking game as well. Packers absolutely blew us up 21-3 at halftime. Missed field goals by Brandon McManus. 7 points in total. Missed extra point, 2 field goals, especially one at the end there. Bears go down the field, down 27-24. Just a field goal to tie it. That's not the mantra of the Chicago Bears this year. Caleb Williams, the Iceman, with a game-winning drive touchdown pass to DJ Moore. It's left about a minute and a half on the clock, which you thought may have been a bit too much for the Packers there, but the defense held up. They got the win, 31-27. Honestly, they have been the absolute comeback kings this year. Do I think they're fraudy? A little bit, but they keep doing the damn thing, and they're so resilient. First year under Ben Johnson as well, who was the offensive coordinator at the Lions last year. Come to a division rival, and he's absolutely proved his point, and now he's beating another division rival in the playoffs to knock them out. It must be so bloody satisfying as that coach. They now host the Rams, a divisional matchup this weekend. They've got a good chance. Like, they literally do have a good chance. I'm not discounting them out at that game whatsoever. The Packers absolutely blew that game. It's not Jordan Love's fault. I think a lot of it comes down to Matt LaFleur and how he coached it. Defense just not good enough when it mattered. And yeah, you can say, but Micah Parsons was injured and that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, they just were not good enough when it mattered. Bears getting the win 31-27. Another cracking game. This was the first of 3 games that we had Monday morning here. Bills beat the Jags 27-24, and we just superhuman Josh Allen, man. When it comes to playoffs, apart from playing the Chiefs, he just goes to a new level. I thought Trevor Lawrence didn't have his best game, but honestly, I thought they put the ball too much in his hands. I get it. He had 3 touchdown passes. The running game was absolutely cooking in this game. They were splitting the Bills' run defense wide open, whether it's left, whether it's right, with ETN and Bashal Tutin. And then for just a couple spots, I'm like, yep, just two runs, they'll get a first down. And they just decide to pass and then pass. And what do you know? The game ends on an interception by Lawrence. They're deflected. But twice in that last quarter, the Bills were down and Josh Allen went down the field and scored a touchdown. And you know, you saw in previous years that he would be down heading into that last quarter, and you saw just a bit of frightness I get in his face every time they crossed over to him. When Jags scored that touchdown to take the lead, he was just like poker face. He just knew the job that he had to do. He just believed in himself, the trust in himself, and he got the job done. You can't argue with that he was easily the better quarterback on the day, and the Bills defense finally stood up when it did matter, getting an interception at the last drive there. This is easily Josh Allen's best chance of making a Super Bowl with no Lamar Jackson, no Patrick Mahomes, no Joe Burrow there to disrupt it all. They now go to Denver this week, who with Bo Nix, Josh Allen's definitely the better quarterback. Yes, you've got a better defense with Denver, but Denver off a week off, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? I'm not so sure. Then if the Bills win that, they've got to play the winner of Texans or the Patriots. And Patriots is a division rival, someone that they're accustomed to playing twice a year. The Texans is someone they lost to on Thursday Night Football in about week 13 or 14. Texans defense is nasty at the moment. I'll get into that a little bit. But Bills making it through now go to Denver this weekend. Then we had the Niners upsetting the Eagles, the Super Bowl champion, 23-19. Another cracking game. Honestly, I'm happy to see the Eagles out. Straight up, happy to see the Eagles out. I thought they were not that good this season. Nowhere near the level they were last year. And everyone was saying, yeah, but come the playoffs, they'll click. Saquon Barkley was nowhere near the level he was last year. Jalen Hurts, nowhere near the level he was last year. A.J. Brown was dropping passes. Devontae Smith, I thought he was good in spots, but I thought he was bad in some spots as well. The defense was good, but when you got a bad offense like that, it was just rubbish. Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator, first year, he has not had a good first year of the Eagles. I thought they got away with a lot of games this year, especially that Rams game where they blocked the field goal at the end, went down, scored a touchdown to cover the spread. And I just think they got, what they deserved. And people saying that they were going to make the Super Bowl and go back to back, I just didn't know what they saw in this Philly team to actually, see that in the Eagles. And full credit to the Niners. They have been so banged up all bloody year. All year, especially on defense. George Kittle gets an Achilles injury halfway through this game. Hope he's okay. Obviously, torn Achilles. He'll be out, probably out the first few weeks next season as well. But the resilience to bounce back. Juwan Jennings had an absolute killer game. He absolutely torched Quinyon Mitchell all game. They fully deserve the win, Niners. They know they now go and play Seattle Seahawks, which is another elite defense. Division game, though. It's a division rival. They beat them there in week 1 this year. They lost them literally a few weeks ago. But I said they literally won in Seattle in week 1. No reason why they can't go and do that again. Sam Darnold, second playoff game. going to be interesting to see how he goes in that pressure situation. Next game here, this was not a good one. After all the good games that we've had the Patriots beating the Chargers 16-3, and story of the game for me was just the Chargers O-line. All season long, it's been brutal. It's been banged up. Justin Herbert had no protection, and it just showed here in the playoffs when it mattered. I don't think Herbert was it was all his fault. He literally just had pressure. He was running around all bloody game, could barely get a pass off. The Chargers O-line was non-existent. He was just getting smashed. He was getting fumbles. He just got absolutely smashed. And I didn't even think the Patriots offense was that good. They scored one touchdown late in the fourth quarter to seal it, but 3 field goals before that. They had an interception in their own 20, and then their defense really stood up in this game. They got the job done, the Patriots, but I don't think it was too much to be pleased about. And now they host the Texans this weekend, and going on to the Texans game, they were mightily impressive, I thought, against the Steelers today. Beating the Steelers 30-6, and what could be Aaron Rodgers' last ever game in the NFL. Last ever game, but that Texans defense is nasty with 10 Ys at the end. Oh my goodness, they fly around the field. That defensive line is bullshit. Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter is just freakish. They are unbelievable defense. This is something that everyone in the NFL world kind of predicted at the start of the year. They would have a top 5 defense. But man, I don't think we expected it to be this good. And now they just need the offense to start clicking, which we had a breakout Christian Kirk game today. Not something I thought would be happening in the year of 2026, but we got it. Went for about 140 yards or something absurd. But the Texans had a defensive fumble touchdown. They had a pick 6 as well. They absolutely torched Aaron Rodgers in this game here. Didn't even score a touchdown. They now go and play in New England, and I think they are a red hot chance. I think they'll go and beat New England, and they face the winner of Bills and Denver there, which is going to be, very, very exciting. I think if the Bills were to beat Denver and Texans beat Patriots, Texans would actually host that game for a chance to get into the Super Bowl, which is, considering they're 0-3, is wild, very wild to think about. As I said, your matchups this weekend, going in order, we've got Bills at Denver, we've got the Niners at Seahawks, we've got Texans at the Patriots, and we've got Rams at the Bears. I think the Bills, it's kind of destined to be their year. I think they get through to another championship game. I think they go and beat Denver. I just think their offense will be too good, and I think the defense will actually stand up. Niners and Seahawks. This is, honestly, Seattle's so heavily favored, but I just don't get why. I think Seattle win, but I think it's going to be a lot tighter than people think. I think the Texans beat the Patriots, honestly, pretty well. It could be a high-scoring affair, like that one there. I do think the Rams beat the Bears. I think the Bears almost played like their Super Bowl last week. That was their time. They did their feel-good story for the crowd, all that sort of thing. Really, good to get a playoff win for the first time, 15 years or something. And I just think the Rams are going to be too classy. You've got the MVP there at quarterback. You've got a good coach there. You got Puka there. You got Devontae there. If the defense can just stand up against the Bears, I think they'll be fine. So that would mean Seattle and Rams in the NFC Championship game, and Bills and the Texans in the AFC Championship game. From there, I would have absolutely no clue. I would probably be saying the Rams in the Super Bowl going against the Bills. Rams and Bills in the Super Bowl for me. All right, let's do a little bit of a quick NBA weekly review. How is this episode length going? Nearly half an hour here, but NBA weekly review. I just go through a couple teams that are in form, go through the MVP race, how the odds are looking for the NBA title, and just overall looking at records. Portland had the best week so far in the last week, went 3-1, and they've won the last 7 of their 8, which is really cool to see. They lost to the Knicks on the Sunday just gone. They were in red hot form though. Red hot form before that loss to the Knicks. The bad team of the week, got to go to Miami Heat. They went 0-3 in the last week. They looked pretty darn poor as well. They've got absolutely blown out. They are, lost 3 in a row now. They're scoring a lot of points, but they're conceding a whole lot of points as well. Any highlights from the week? Luka went off for 42 points against the Kings today and got still lost by, double digits. And then we had Trae Young, probably the star of the Atlanta Hawks. Honestly, I think he's number 2 now to Jalen Johnson, but Trae Young is no longer at the Hawks. He has been traded to the Washington Wizards for CJ McCollum, and I forget who the other player is. I think that's a win-win for both sides in that trade there. I think, Trae Young to the Wizards adds to that Wizards lineup and what they want to produce in the future. And then Atlanta getting, CJ McCollum and a couple trade picks, that sort of thing. I think that helps Atlanta as well. Both teams aren't going to make the playoffs, I don't think, this season. Atlanta might make the play-in as per usual, but probably lose. But they're not a team that's really going to compete when it comes to the actual playoffs. I think it's a win-win trade. Looking at MVP odds, SGA still holding there at $1.25. Luka there at 7s. We had Cade Cunningham come in from 29s to 17s over the last week. It was looking pretty good for the Eastern Conference leading Detroit Pistons at the moment, who even though they lost, was it today or yesterday? Sorry, they're still 3.5 games ahead of the New York Knicks in second there. Championship-wise, we talked about OKC in a bit of a slump at the moment. Even though they're 7-3 in their last 10, they've now gone 3 in a row after that loss to the Hornets last week at home. They came back, I believe it was against, who did they just come back and beat recently? I forgot who it was. I think it may have been Miami. They came back literally from 11 down in the fourth quarter to beat them by 1 at the buzzer there, which they really needed. They're still 2-15 to win the championship. Still 2-15. I mean, Nuggets are second favorite, $8. Jokic is still to come back in 2 weeks, but that just shows the depth of the Nuggets and how good they're still going despite Jokic being out. They're 5-5 in the last 10. I think he's missed 8 games now, and they're going pretty solid. They're just hanging in there. All they have to do is probably finish in that top 4 seed so they can host a playoff series. But yeah, honestly, it just shows the depth that they had. Once Nikola comes back, they will be absolutely sweet. But not much has too much really changed in regards to the NBA standings. We've still got the same teams in the top of the East. We've still got Detroit at the top. New York, 3.5 games behind. Boston, a game behind that. And then Toronto, a game behind that. We had Kyle Lowry for the Sixers play pretty much his last game in Toronto today. They absolutely spanked Toronto as well. Excuse me. They're sitting half a game behind Toronto now. Then you've got the Magic to round out the top 6 there. Cleveland had a shock loss to the Utah Jazz today. It's 13-point favorites there. And then the same 3 freaking teams you see in the play-in every year. Miami, Atlanta, and Chicago round up 8-10 there. You've got the Bucks there, who is still yet to trade Giannis. It's got to be coming very, very shortly. The Hornets, they're sitting pretty bad, but they had a 52-point win, I think it was, against the Jazz the other day on the weekend. Literally, what was it, 52 or 55? Won by 55 points, and then they go and lose today against the Clippers. Still got the Pacers there at the bottom. Even though they beat Boston today, they've won 3 in a row now. Still pretty much sitting with the worst record in the league with the Pelicans. That is not good. In your West, despite OKC's little mid-season slump, you've still got them 5.5 games ahead of San Antonio. Those two play each other tomorrow. Literally the 4th game. They feel like they've played each other this year. And San Antonio is 3-0 in those games there. San Antonio are 5-5 in the last 10, so they're in a little bit more of a slump than OKC is at the moment. Still got Denver hanging in there, a game behind the Spurs, and then the Wolves half a game behind the Nuggets. The Wolves, I can't pick the Wolves. They are so freaking inconsistent. They drive me insane. They'll show up against the really good teams, and then you think they're like, you know what, they've got something with Anthony Edwards and that sort of thing. And then they just throw these absolute clunker of a games against a trash team. You just think, what is going on? I don't know if it's obviously a mental thing or a coaching thing. The Lakers are lost 3 in a row now, despite Luka's alien efforts. And then you got the Suns. The Suns are starting to kick along because they're 8-2 in the last 10. They're probably the form team at the moment, along with the Clippers, who are also 8-2 in the last 10. Houston is on a bit of a downward at the moment, 5-5 in the last 10, just not playing that good of a basketball at the moment. They do play OKC later on in the week, which would be good. Then you got, pretty irrelevant, I think, Golden State, Portland, and Memphis to round out the other three there in the play-in. I think the Clippers will actually end up making the play-in ahead of Memphis. Looks like Memphis will probably be trading Ja Morant within a couple weeks. I'm not sure where he's going to go, but I think he's going to get traded very, very soon. Luka, as I spoke about, 42 points today, leads the scoring by, honestly, over 1.5 points ahead of Shea there, 33.3 points a game. Oh my goodness gracious me. Jokic, despite him being out, not going to win the MVP anymore, he's out of the MVP race. He still leads the rebounds and assists there. Absolute freak. It's just an absolute freak. He's 5th in points as well for the season. He's just an absolute alien. I think if he was healthy all the season, he's my MVP for me. I just think he's such a big impact on this Denver team. But yeah, let's have a chat about NHL. A little bit of hockey. One of my favorite sports. It's freaking unpredictable this season, but my goodness, is it a good watch. Talk about the Avalanche. The Avalanche have been absolute cooking this season. They have not lost a game in regulation at home this season. The home record is 19-0-3. That third one was today, baby, losing to the Leafs 4-3 in overtime. They were up 2-1, then they were down 3-2, scored a goal in the last 7 minutes to tie it up and then lose in overtime. They are still 11 points ahead of second in the Western Conference. They are still dominating the league, dominating the whole freaking league. It is insane. They have lost, 4 games in regulation so far. The next best is 10, I think, with Dallas. Dallas have just come off losing about 7 in a row. They finally won today against the Kings, finally. But yeah, massive slump at the moment. And the NHL is absolute wild as shit. It is nuts. You've got the Sharks there in a wildcard spot. You've got the Kraken there in a wildcard spot. But it's so freaking tight that you look at the Eastern Conference and you look at the Flyers, who are in a wildcard spot. The Flyers aren't that good, man, it feels like. They're sitting on 52 points. They're sitting essentially 5th in the Eastern Conference at the moment. And then you go to 11th in the conference, which is, 12th in the conference. 12th in the conference, which is the Panthers. They are sitting on 51. So there is literally like 1 point separating 5th to freaking 11th or 12th in the conference. Unbelievable where this league is at the moment. And one of the stories I really like is the Sabres. The Buffalo Sabres, one of the worst teams in history, going back like the last 5 or so years, ever since I've been following it. They are now in a wild card spot at the moment, pretty much halfway through the season. That'll be such a feel-good story if they do get to the playoffs. We've got the Olympic break coming up in a couple weeks when they go to, obviously, the Winter Olympics, which is in Rome. They are 8-2 in the last 10 games, losing to Florida today as well. So they're absolute cooking at the moment. So are the Leafs. Like the Leafs, it feels like 3 weeks ago in a podcast, I was talking about the literally bottom of the league. Bottom of the league. They are now, honestly, a few points off the top of the East. 8-0-2 in the last 10. Have not lost in regulation for more than 10 games. Unbelievable. Easily the form team at the moment, Tampa Bay Lightning. 10 games in a row they've won. They're nearly sitting top of the East now, where they look like they're in a slump. Detroit Red Wings and the Hurricanes still sitting at the top there. Still got the Islanders there. You still got the Canadiens there lurking about. But it's just insane how freaking tight it is this season. It's just such a good watch. You look at the Kings, who are 8th in the wildcard, sneaking that last wildcard spot at the moment, to the Blackhawks, who are 11th in the conference. There's 3 points. 3 freaking points separating. It's just so freaking tight. Your teams, even though the Blackhawks are 3 points off, they probably won't make it. But even the Predators up there. The Predators were awful at the start of the year. Awful. The Ducks have really dropped off. They're 1-8-1 in the last 10, which is not good. Lost 9 in a row. The Ducks have lost 9 in a row. They were literally way up the top there a month ago. Just crazy how quick it changes. Feels like the Jets are kind of starting to get a roll on. They've won back-to-back games now. Maybe they'll start on a little run, but so hard to come back for that. One team I'm pretty confident that is not going to make the playoffs is the New York Rangers. They've lost 4 in a row now. They've got Shesterkin, their goalie's injured. They're not looking good. They lost again at home. Their record at home is awful. They are 5-12-4 at home. Unbelievable that they have lost. They have gone 5-16 at home this season. 5 freaking games at MSG. They are so freaking bad. Nathan McKinnon still leading the points tally at 81 there. Him and McDavid are just absolute blitzing it at the moment. They're 81 and 80 respectively. McKinnon still got the most goals in the league with 36 over McDavid with 30 there. And it's still, McKinnon's still leading the plus minus with 49. Obviously, a lot of Avalanche players are in. They have 4 of the top 5 at the moment. My goodness gracious me. With the Avalanche loss today, I didn't even mention it. They had the third string goalie, Trent Miner, playing today. And he played his first game, his debut for the Avalanche the other day. He had a shutout in his debut, which doesn't happen very often. The other 2 goalies, Mackenzie Blackwood and Scott Wedgwood, are the top 2 goalies in the league at the moment. I don't know whether it comes down to goaltending or defense, but to have your 2 goalies at the top there who share a lot of games is mighty, mighty impressive. Very, very impressive. But yeah, NHL, man, is absolute crazy as shit. I cannot predict it. It's just so hard. Like, the Penguins and the Bruins are still there. The Panthers are so banged up, but they just need to get Tkachuk back after the Olympic break. I think Seth Jones is injured at the moment. Bobrovsky's not looking like the Bobrovsky that we're used to. It's so freaking wide open at the moment, man. It's so wide open. I just got no idea what's going to happen. But yeah, it's such an enjoyable watch. If you haven't watched it, make sure you do. But that will do it for this week's episode of the Skooshi Sports Podcast, your global sports roundup, bringing you your latest sporting news from around the globe in the last week. As I said at the start, massive shout out to Alyssa Healy, who hung up the boots this week, retiring from all forms of cricket. She has been an absolute inspiration and stellar player for Australian cricket, women's and men's, and then cricket all around the globe as well. So she got my Women's Player of the Week. Massive congratulations to Alyssa Healy and her career. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give this a massive like and subscribe to the channel as well. I'll see you tomorrow or the day after for the Red Zone Report. And cheers.